For walleye, look for rocky structures and drop-offs. As for what to use, this is the time for aggressive lures. Think spinnerbaits, jerkbaits, and lipless crankbaits that mimic the abundant baitfish. A medium-heavy spinning or bait-casting setup will serve you well here. The goal is to cover water and find those actively feeding fish. And what about our beloved bass? Both smallmouth and largemouth bass are still active in the fall and are gathering in schools, feeding heavily before the colder months. For smallmouth, target rocky areas and cooler, clear waters. If a cold front has moved through, they might go a bit deeper. For largemouth, stick to the shallows and weed beds. My little trick for smallmouth in deeper water is jigging a tube jig, while for largemouth, a Senko worm thrown into weed beds can be irresistible. They are in full feeding mode, so do not hesitate to try a variety of presentations till you find what they like. Now, let's break down the conditions for October 21st. The weather forecast for much of Canada, using Toronto as our benchmark, shows daytime highs around 14 degrees Celsius or 57 degrees Fahrenheit, dropping to about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius, roughly 45 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit, overnight. We are looking at partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of light showers. Atmospheric pressure should be relatively stable to slightly variable, which is usually a good sign for fishing activity. These cooler but not freezing temperatures are exactly what triggers that intense fall feeding period. Water temperatures in Ontario lakes are currently hovering between 10 and 16 degrees Celsius, or 50 to 61 degrees Fahrenheit. This consistent cooling trend is fantastic because it means fish are actively seeking warmer, shallower waters to speed up their metabolism and feed. This biological urge to pack on weight before winter is a huge advantage for us anglers. As for the moon phase on October 21st, 2025, we are experiencing a new moon with 0 to 0.5% illumination. Now, my friends, while some old-school anglers might tell you that a new moon isn't the best for fishing, it's not a deal-breaker, especially this time of year. While some believe fish activity dips slightly during this phase, the intense feeding triggered by falling water temperatures often overrides lunar influence for predatory species. The darker nights might even push fish to feed more aggressively during daylight hours. Don't let the moon phase deter you entirely. Overall, the biological activity of fish across Canada for this period is high. We are smack in the middle of the fall frenzy. You can expect to encounter heavily concentrated schools of aggressive and active fish, especially the predators. The baitfish are plentiful, having had all summer to grow, and they are congregating, making them an easy target for larger game fish. Considering all these factors, the consistent cooling water temperatures, the abundant baitfish, and the pre-winter feeding drive, my forecast for October 21st is good to excellent, especially for targeting predatory species. So, my friends, grab your gear, bundle up, and get out there. I wish you all tight lines and ni vosta ni cheshwi. If you found this forecast helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more expert tips, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. And tell me in the comments below, what are your plans for fishing this week? What's your go-to fall lure? And what's the biggest fish you've caught this season? Your insights help us all become better anglers. They'll be moving out of their winter haunts and into the estuaries, foraging around rocky structures, pontoons, and even mangrove edges, seeking out crustaceans and small baitfish. For Bream, a light spin outfit is your best friend. He'd be rigging up with small, natural-colored soft plastics, perhaps a worm imitation, or even fresh prawns or nippers on an unweighted or lightly weighted hook. Cast as close to the structure as possible, let it sink naturally, and be ready for that subtle take. Bread baits can also be surprisingly effective in high-traffic areas where they're accustomed to a free feed. And finally, for those targeting a bit more fight, the pink snapper. With the water temperature making that steady climb, snapper will be more active on our coastal reefs and deeper marks. They'll be on the chew, preparing for their breeding season in the coming months. Look for them around offshore reefs, isolated bommies, or even deeper artificial structures. Fresh squid strips or pilchards are classic baits, fished on a paternoster rig or a slow jigging setup. For the lure anglers, bigger soft plastics in natural pilchard or squid patterns, slowly worked along the bottom, can be incredibly effective. Remember, a good sounder will be your best mate out here, pinpointing those deeper schools. Now let's break down the conditions, friends. The weather. For Tuesday, the 21st of October 2025, we're looking at typical spring weather for coastal Australia. Expect mild to warm daytime temperatures, hovering around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius, or about 72 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Nights will be cooler, dropping to around 13 to 15 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 55 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. We might see some variable atmospheric pressure with a chance of spring showers throughout the day,